Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with All American Season 5, Episode 13, called Day Ones. I think it's called, Day Ones, this episode. This episode, of course, we're back from our 2-week break. It felt like forever since, we've kind of gotten another episode of All American, especially, like, what a way for them to kind of, like, leave us hanging a little bit, kind of, like, leave us with all of, like, what happened in the last episode, was it 12? Like, it was just such a hard episode to kind of, like, leave us off on and kind of wait for us to come back to the show for, like, for those 2 weeks. But this episode was directed by Daniel Ezra, aka Spencer James in the show. What a phenomenal episode. This episode was a sad yet beautiful episode. And this episode answers the question of how we ended episode 12 with Olivia grabbing I think it was the liquor bottle from Billy's drawer in his office at South Crenshaw, and we kind of wondered, is she going to spiral in this episode? This episode actually takes place, I think it's like 3 weeks after that event. After that day, so like after from that day, I guess it was like 3 weeks later. It was like a couple of weeks later, like it was like 3 or 4 weeks, and pretty much it's been building up with Olivia wanting to spiral, and it kind of got to the point where like we start off this episode with like kind of like a really sad monologue by I can't believe I'm forgetting her name, by it's gonna kill me. Samantha Logan. She plays Olivia. It was like a really sad monologue, kind of like, how Olivia has these dreams of, getting married and all these things, and pretty much, and also like her dream was looking up to her father, and how, her father said that she could wear a pantsuit for her wedding. How her father, anything, her father said about like, oh, my father says I'm going to be a world changer. Like, I'm going to change the world, and anything my father says, I believe him. And it's just really sad because, she had these dreams of like, about like her experiencing these moments with her dad. But you know what I mean? It's always in the moment where like, those dreams might be cut short with events that, you don't expect. And it was, of course, the events of, her father passing. So it was just a really sad, opening monologue. And pretty much, we really see that Olivia is struggling. And, she has to ask for, Jordan and Layla's help, because Jordan and Layla are in the room over. And, Jordan has his kind of, support system with Layla because they're together. But, like, Olivia really, like, feels like she has no one. And it's at the moment where she's like, I need my village. I need my friends. I need my day ones with me. And I need everybody to help me through this. And she actually ends up calling, it's really late. I think it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I can't remember when it was when she asked. But, when the moment when she's like, I feel like, I need you to get up right now. I feel like I'm going to relapse. I feel like I'm going to take a drink. I need you guys to get up. I need my village. And, of course, right away, like, Layla and Jordan just got up. They're like, okay, like, this is important. Like, let's do this. We're here for you. And of course, the moment that really made me super upset and sad was the moment where, like, Olivia's laying on Layla's lap, laying like sleeping, like with her head on Layla's lap, and it looks like they were in the bathroom or in the kitchen. I couldn't tell. And Jordan ends up sitting down. They both look tired, but it's in the moment where like she said thank you, and she's like, I'm glad that you two have each other. And it was just really upsetting because while they look at each other like, we both, I have you and you have me, who, Liv really is relying on us to be there for her. And they just get really worried to the point where like Jordan wants to call Olivia's, sponsor like ASAP. And I can't remember Olivia's sponsor's name. I'm going to look that up because I can't believe I don't remember. So let me do that real quick because I want to figure out what Olivia's sponsor's name, what her name is. And we've seen her multiple times, and hopefully IMDb will update to the point where it'll tell me. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't tell me, so I'm gonna have to like look on the main like IMDb, just like not in the episode, but like scroll throughout here and see if I can find her name. She shouldn't be all, okay, here we go. Joy. Nurse Joy. So Nurse Joy, of course, is Olivia's sponsor, and as Jordan's about to call, Nurse Joy, that's when, Joy just ends up walking in, and he's like, they were like, we were just about to call you, and that's when Olivia's like, I called her, and I also called everybody else, because we have Coop walk in, we have, who else? We have Coop, we have Asher, we have, of course, Layla and Jordan already there, we have Laura's there, which I was shocked that, like, Laura, like, I forget, like, where Laura's been, because I don't think she's been in the house, she's kind of, like, been somewhere else. So I was shocked that, like, kind of, like, she wasn't around, like, Jordan and Olivia around this time of everybody still kind of, processing, her kids are kind of processing the grief of, their father's loss. I was kind of, like, surprised that I was like, where's she been this entire time? But it alludes later in the episode where, like, I guess she's been there because she still cries, you know what I mean? Whether they know it or not, in the shower, so they don't know. So that it's alluded to, she has been around, but I was, like, kind of confused why she didn't pick up on anything. But I guess it's the fact that, Olivia, to everybody else's eyes, is that she's been strong about what's been going on. But it just got to this breaking point where she wants to relapse in this episode. So everybody's pretty much there as a support system, her village. But Spencer, by the way, I was like, where the hell is Spencer? I was like, how come? Why isn't he here? We cut to Spencer, and I got so pissed because in this episode, Spencer is still with Alicia, and I could not. I was like, Spencer, bro, you literally in the last episode went to tell Olivia that, or maybe the one before that, you wanted to tell Olivia, like, you were gonna finally give Olivia a response to "I want you back." And I was like, and we all know when he was going to talk to Olivia, I think he was going to say it to Olivia, like, I want to be with you. At least that's what I thought. So I was like, I can't believe, bro, you're still with Alicia right now. I was kind of, like, annoyed. I was like, please don't be that dude where it's like, even though you didn't say it, in your heart, you want to be with Olivia. So I was like, why is Alicia still here? I feel bad for Alicia because it feels like, like she's just not... Spencer just wants to stay closed off, especially in this episode where, she made Spencer breakfast. Right away, she shut down, Alicia and pretty much said, I can't eat before a workout. I'm going to leave. And just was kind of rude. And, like, we really see that Spencer has not dealt with the grief yet of the passing of Billy. That's a father figure that Spencer lost. Another father figure that he lost. And it's like, that's tearing him up inside, and it's tearing him up inside the fact of, like, what Grace says, like, you need to let this out, you need to process this grief, you can't run from it. And it's like, that's what he's doing in this episode. I really feel bad for Alicia because she seems like a nice girl that really wants to be there and be there and be with Spencer, but he just wants to keep his guard up. And it's like, she's trying, and it's like, how much more can you do before you feel like you're the problem, or you feel like you can't help, or you feel like, you just don't like the feeling of, like, you feel like you don't know the answer and you don't know what else to do. The person that you want to help, or the person that you want to help, is eventually by them not keeping their guard up, it's going to make the person that's trying to help you feel like crap. So I really feel bad for Alicia in this episode. I really do. And this isn't even the first time he does it. Coop goes to see Spencer and pretty much say why, what's going on with you, Spencer? Like, Liv, we're on Liv watch, we're all taking turns watching Olivia. She's really going through it right now. And Spencer just doesn't know about it. And we have the idea of why he doesn't know about it later in the episode, but, like, his response to that is just like, oh, well, I'm here doing what I need to do. Simple as that. And it was just like really rude to Coop. And I was like, damn, like, I don't like the Spencer right now. The Spencer that's keeping his guard up and just can't come with the fact of, like, you need to grieve, you need to process what happened, you can't run from this. You pushing people away and being rude to anybody isn't helping what's going on. So it's like, I don't know, it just really upset me the way Spencer is treating people in this episode, but I know in the fact that he's grieving, but, like, or he's trying to process grief in his own way, and his way of processing grief, even though it's not the right way to be doing it, is running from it and trying to keep busy and trying to keep and focus on, what's going on at GAU about if Coach Kenny is actually going to be the coach of GAU, and is Kenny talking to the principal about, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing about getting more players on the team? Like, what's going on? Like, he's being so aggressive with Coach Kenny about, what are you doing? You're not doing enough. Like, I had your back. Like, I need you to get me to the NFL, and just is being really rude to Kenny while Kenny's like, I'm here for you. I want to be here for you. Like, let's talk, Spencer. He's like, no, I don't want to talk. Like, I don't need any of that. Just, I need you to do your part. and just and get me to the NFL and get me the players and get me started for the new season. He's just really being aggressive and really needing that to distract him. So he's taking it out on Kenny, saying like, you're not doing what you need to be doing, because he wants to keep running. He doesn't want to feel the grief of losing Billy, of losing a father. And we really see that in this episode. And like, it was crazy to me is that, you know, just like how much he's like, how much like you really see that it's like the more he keeps it inside, the angrier he gets. And the more concerned I am getting for Spencer going forward in the next episode and the rest, hell, for the rest of the season. But, you know, we go back to, you know, what's going on with Jordan and the process of, you know, being there on Live Watch and everybody being there on Live Watch. We were with Jordan and Layla, and Jordan finds a package back at, you know, back at Billy and Laura, back at his parents' place. Let's just say that. Back at his parents' place. He finds a package. It's Billy's last package that he's ever, you know, that's the last package that's ever going to get delivered to the house. And it's like, Jordan doesn't know how to process that, saying, if I open this package, that's it. There's no more packages from my father. And it's kind of like, I need to know that this is real, and he'll never get a package again. So it's very hard for him to be like, what do I do? Like, you know, like, this is the last package my dad ever ordered. And it's sad for me to think that was the last package he ordered, is this package. And there will be no more packages with his name on it. And it was really upsetting hearing that, because it's like, I can't imagine going through that. That's probably the worst fear I bet anybody can have, is that, you know, like, you know, as the things slowly start to slip away, of like people ordering, like you losing a loved one and they ordered something, or them getting mail and stuff like that, and all that stuff just being gone. Even though that, you know, eventually you realize, you know, their spirit lives on, and their memory will never be gone. You know what I mean? Because of all because pictures and everything like that, and the legacy that they left behind, or the memories that, you know, they left behind, and the marks that they made. It's still sad hearing Jordan say that, and I was like, damn, bro, I can't imagine that. Like, that would suck. Like, having that feeling of like you lose someone and you realize, you think to yourself, that must have been the last package that they you know, that they want, the last package that they, like, you know, that last package that, you know, they ordered before they died. Like, that's really upsetting. And, you know, Layla really got them through it, pretty much saying that this was the last thing my mom left behind, and it was a song saying that, you know, you will remember me, like, you know, you will remember me. And I always, you know, love that that I have this piece of my mother I get to carry with me, and it always reminds me that, you know, I will remember her. And it's like, you know, you will always remember your father, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just thought that was really nice that she shared that with Jordan, because we always know how hard it was for Layla to, like, share music from her mother to anybody. And the fact that you really see Layla as a character growing, and, you know, we really see her opening up with Jordan. It's just such a great relationship that they have, and I really do feel like that they really were meant for each other, Jordan and Layla. And that really got Jordan through it. And, you know, I really liked that part of the episode where, like, you know, that they have each other, and, you know, she was helping him through that. And, like, Layla was his rock in that situation. But going on to, like, Asher and Jamie in this episode, Jamie has her first ultrasound for the baby. I was kind of, you know, really getting happy, because Asher was kind of, like, concerned at this point. It was like, oh my god, like, is this too early, like, you know what I mean, to have an ultrasound? And she's like, it's okay, it's just my doctor wants to check on me, and, you know what I mean, like, you know, and see everything is okay with the baby, and the baby's healthy. And you could just, I found it like, oh, Asher's like, you know, like, he's really like going into, like, dad mode already, just, you know, being concerned and stuff. But, like, the reason that he is concerned and stuff, because of the trauma that he had about, you know, when things were going good with him and Billy, and then next thing you know, something just bad happened. So he's afraid that while things are going good with him and Jamie about them having the baby, he's worried, like, okay, like, where's the bad? When's the bad coming about? I'm worried that, you know, that since Jamie has lupus, will that affect the baby? And he's kind of taking the trauma that he had, and he's kind of putting that to the fact of, like, okay, this is a good thing, but, like, where's the bad stuff? Like, is this going to be the bad thing that comes in? Is, you know, is Jamie's lupus, is that going to affect the baby? And the fact that, you know, he left the room to ask the doctor about, oh, like, well, I read online that, you know, lupus could affect, you know, and she's like, let me stop you right there. Jamie is taking care of her body very well and everything is okay. You have nothing to worry about. And Jamie ends up coming out and like ends up like yelling at Asher, saying, you know what I mean, like, why'd you ask about my body or whatever? And I know my body and I know everything is okay. You need to trust me. Everything is fine. And, you know, Asher kind of like looked like, oh, why are you upset at me? But it's like, dude, it's like, but then again, you know, Asher, from his perspective of like how he's taking his trauma and being like, okay, things were fine until something ended up popping up and being bad. I can understand like why he was worried about something like that, but it's the fact of like, I'm really happy that, you know, Jamie's like, you know, that's why we need to live in the now. We can't worry about bad things to come. We just need to live now. And that was such a good thing to help Asher through it. And it's also the thing that Asher needs to talk to somebody about his trauma. You know what I mean? Well, you know, and I feel like that's what this really episode was about, is that people like find, you know, like, you know, finding, there's a word for it, finding like, what is it? Like kind of finding closure, like not closure, but like kind of finding, you know, someone like, you know, someone to talk about, you know, yeah, I guess you could say, I don't know if closure is the right word for it, but you guys know what I mean. Like someone to talk to and someone to like, you know, kind of like help you through the tough time of everything that went down. And I do feel like, you know, I feel like that was really the thing, is that, you know, everybody needs to be there for everybody. I feel like, you know, when you have the vortex, you have you have your friends, you have people to check up on you and help you through the tough times. And it's like they are a family, and I really do love that everybody's being there for one another. But it's like, that's true. Like Asher, yeah, like Jamie, he's like, I have you to talk to, Jamie. And she's like, maybe you need to talk to somebody else. And I'm really curious to know who Asher will be talking to, like who will be his like therapist going forward, about talking about the trauma of him being on the bus and just something and that big, you know, traumatic event. And, you know what I mean, putting it to the point of where he, you know, was putting that going, like he was worried about bad things happening out of good things, that the bad thing was going to happen next, because it was a great thing, him at the, you know, the combine, but it turned into the point of like, oh, and then something bad happened. So he was like, something good's happening with me and Jamie if I was having a kid, but when's the bad happening? So he needs to go to therapy. And I really do love how that, you know, they kind of came to terms on that and kind of talked about that, saying we need to live in the now, we need to live every moment that we can, right here, right now, not think about the future like that. And I mean, they're just waiting for something bad to happen. I just really happy that Asher had that conversation, because I really felt bad for Asher about how he was really worried. And I was like, Asher, you got nothing to worry about, bro. Nothing to worry about, bro. But it makes you think in the headspace of where Asher's at, that would make you think if you went through that, would you start thinking like that? So it got into the perspective. I was like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, like if I went through that, I would be worried about like, when's the next bad thing happening after, you know, when things were going good for me. Is something bad gonna happen again? You know what I mean? I would probably start really worrying like that. And it's just, I'm really happy that Asher has someone and they all have one another to kind of lean on. But also, you know, I'm trying to think of what else was going on in this episode besides, you know, James, you know, besides well, I guess Alicia, let's talk about this. When Spencer came back after, you know, working out, him and Alicia were gonna watch movies and eat. And then next thing you know, Coop comes in with Olivia, and it's Asher's turn to take, you know, Olivia to her meeting. Pretty much, you know, Asher is with Jamie, and that's what Alicia says. Oh, Asher left with Jamie. They went to a doctor's appointment, and they went somewhere, because I don't think anybody knows yet about the baby. So it's like, I think he's just, oh, him and Jamie went somewhere, like, oh, like, yeah, that's pretty much what's going down. And, you know, that's when Spencer says, oh, like, I'll take you, Liv. Like, you know, we were just gonna watch a movie and eat something, but, you know, Alicia can I take a rain check? And you really feel bad for Alicia, because it's like, okay, like, she feels like, I don't know what else to do. I know that there's something going on with Spencer, and I know he wants to be there for his friend, but I feel like someone needs to be there for him, and he's closing himself off, and I feel like, you know, I don't know what else to do, because, you know, he doesn't want to talk about it with me, but, you know, he wants to be there for somebody else, and when someone needs to be there for him as well, you just really feel for Alicia in that moment. And, you know, I really love, my favorite part of this episode has to be the moment where, like, Spencer's taking Olivia to her AA meeting, and it was the moment where, like, you know, they were like, it felt like, you know, because Nurse Joy previously told Olivia, you need to find why, why you want to relapse. You need to find the reason why. Like, why now? Like, why do you want to do this? And I love when Spencer helps her find out why. That's the question of this episode, is why. And my favorite line in this episode, like I said, my favorite sequence is when he's taking her and they end up going to the carnival. And when she ends up seeing the carnival, Olivia, she's like, oh my God, my dad used to love, pop-up carnivals. And she's like, I used to call them, death traps waiting to happen. And my father used to call, and my father used to call them, wait, I think she said, blooming, I wrote it down. And she's like, Olivia says, says to her dad, carnivals are death traps death traps in the making. And Billy, of course, says carnivals are like roses that bloom in concrete. A beautiful surprise. I thought that was beautiful. That line was just beautiful. Roses that bloom in the concrete, and my father used to call them, a beautiful surprise. It was just that was such a great line, and I just thought, what a beautiful way to look at it. When, of course, Olivia said they're just death traps, death traps in the making. And he said no, they're just roses that bloom in concrete, a beautiful surprise. I just thought that was so beautiful. I was like, what a line. I was like, what a great life Billy lived to think of it like that. A pop-up carnival. I was like, damn, like, he was deep when you think about it. He was a really good, looked at the bright side type of dude, Billy. And it was just really just beautiful when that line happened, where I was like, I really realized, like, damn, Billy was a really good, like, a great dude. You know what I mean? He was there for everybody. He always had room he always had room to bring more people in, because, he just made more room, in his heart to bring more people in. That's how big his heart was. He just kept making room for more people. And I love that. And just hearing that, I was like, damn, like, Billy was that dude. And, the beautiful moment is, like, Spencer turns around. He's like, we're going to go. And he's like, says to Olivia, looking at the Ferris wheel, saying that, this is the place you can connect with your pops. You already know that there's, like, a connection here. And I mean, and up there is the closest we're going to get to heaven from down here. And I thought that was another beautiful line, like, that's the closest we're going to get to heaven from down here. And when they go up, well, they have fun first, which I thought was really cute, to get, like, Olivia, like, just make Olivia happy again. You know what I mean? Make her look on the bright side of, you know what I mean? Like, let her have a happy time. You know what I mean? Let her have a happy moment. And let her know that everything's going to be okay. And I thought, if anybody's going to be able to do that, it's Spencer. Because they have such a great connection, and they are meant for each other. And I'm just, we're going through the hardships of them, breaking up and them not being together. But, like, we're slowly starting to see things build back up in their relationship. And just knowing that he's the one person that really can make her laugh and make her feel like everything's okay. And, it was cute, them playing basketball. He said, get me a football. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, I can't beat you, get me a football. And, them doing the ring toss on the bottles and stuff like that. And he says, it's impossible. And she's like, oh, look, I'm doing it or whatever. And just seeing the cute moments between them two again, and just seeing that this is what she needed, was just great. And the moment I really enjoyed is when they go up on the Ferris wheel. It stops, and he says, close your eyes, feel the clouds, and speak to your dad, and speak to your dad. And that was just a beautiful moment where, like, again, Samantha Logan's acting in this particular episode was phenomenal. She's great in general, but, like, in this episode, when she's just crying, closed her eyes and was crying while, like, and she feels the clouds, and she's speaking to Billy, speaking to her father. Beautiful sequence, like, her just crying, and it's, like, silent. And we see how, like, Spencer does not want to have that moment, does not want to, like, he does not want to confront the way he feels about losing Billy and losing another father figure. He does not want to go through that again. So you see how he wants to cry, but he's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And it's like, you really feel like, Spencer, just let it out, bro. You need this. You're here for everybody else. You're letting Olivia have that moment. You need this. And Olivia even says that, like, after, at the end of the episode, where, like, Spencer and Olivia kind of, like, Olivia's like, oh, like, I just want to say, like, thank you for today or whatever. And, she's like, but what about you? Like, I'm worried about you. Like, you lost another father. Like, what are you going through? And he's like, we'll talk about that eventually. Sam and I will talk about, about the fact that, you said that you love me, and my response to that, like, I want to wait until we're all, and like, we both have clear heads, and you're not going through, I think he said like DEFCON 10 or whatever, like, you're good and everything like that, and we're both in a good place. Then we'll talk about that, and I'll talk about, how I'm feeling about, Billy's passing, me losing another father. We'll talk about it. And it's like, you can tell that Olivia's like, damn, Spencer, you need to, like, it's not good that you're keeping this in. And I really, like, it really got bad towards the end of the episode. Like, Spencer's yelling at Coach Kenny and pretty much wants to leave GAU. Like, I can't believe that that's how they ended this episode. Like, he just was yelling at Coach Kenny, saying, I don't need another father, because he's like, I'm here for you, son. That's what Coach Kenny says. And Spencer's having instant flashbacks to him and Billy and him and Corey. He's like, I don't need another father. I need you to do your job, and I need you to help me get to the NFL, and I need you I need you to fight for your job, fight for this. You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm done with this place. I'm done with you. I'm leaving GAU. And I was like, bro, like, you really could tell that Spencer's just isn't having it. He does not want to have the conversation and does not want to feel all that, like all that pain, because when you feel that pain and you let it out is when that's when the healing process starts happening. But when you don't want to have that, and you just want to distract yourself and run from it, you start to get angrier and you take it out on people. And that's the phase that he's in right now. That's the state he's in, is where he's taking it out on people because he doesn't want to feel, he doesn't want to confront the feelings that he has about losing Billy. He just refuses, and he doesn't want it. And I really feel bad for Spencer. I'm really worried about that explosion that's going to come down the line, about him just exploding, and it's going to be that breakout point where if you don't let it out now, it's gonna explode in everybody's face in a bad way, and something bad can happen. So I'm really worried about Spencer. But also, like, Jabari. Oh my God, Jabari in this episode. I don't think I was even expecting Jabari, but like, we have Preach trying to get Jabari through everything he's going through right now about how he still feels guilty for Billy's passing. And I really feel bad for Jabari, man. Like, I really, really do. I mean, he's failing. He's not showing up to his, his after school, like, studying. He's failing. He failed his test, or he's been failing classes. He got into a fight. Laura was there to see it because Laura had to go look for, I think, Billy's, Social Security, I guess, to sign off on his death certificate or whatever. Like, she had to do something like that because I guess they needed his, like, social or whatever. And, Olivia went, but Olivia had to go catch a ride from Coop to go to her, her AA. And, of course, that's when we got to the point where, like, Coop couldn't take her. That's when Spencer took her and took her to the carnival. But, like, Laura sees that, about what Jabari's going through. And I was like, when Laura came out and saw Preach take Jabari away from that fight, I was a little concerned how Laura was going to act. I thought Laura was going to go yell at Jabari, saying, did you not remember the talk that we had about, I need you, like, my husband sacrificed himself for you. I need you to, don't waste your life and make us proud and make him proud. Don't waste it because someone just sacrificed their life for yours. I thought Laura was about to, like, yell at him, but when she overhears Preach talking to Jabari, saying that you need to talk to somebody, man, but you can't let this guilt destroy you. You need to like realize that it's not your fault, and you need to talk to somebody. And that's when I was really happy. I was like, if anybody's gonna talk to Jabari, I was really happy Laura did, even though it was a hard conversation. How Laura already kind of feels like, knows that it's not Jabari's fault, but she kind of feels like, it's just like, it kind of feels like, how do you talk to somebody that, even though it's not his fault, but like, you know what I mean? Like, after the events of like the last episode, even though she forgave him saying it's not your fault, but also after seeing him fight and kind of like him not, making the best of his life after Billy just sacrificed his life, I thought for sure, like, how is she going to go talk to him? I was like, if anybody's going to talk to her, it should be Laura. But, like, after her seeing him, like, not making the best of his life after someone just sacrificed his life for his, how is she going to do that? But the fact that she just did it anyways and wanted to hear the story about how Billy saved him, that was really tough. And Jabari was like, I don't want to talk about that, because you really tell, like, the trauma is getting to him about that moment. That was really sad, because I wanted to know, like, how did it go? Like, where was Jabari on the bus? Like, why couldn't Billy get off? And we see it where, like, Billy finds Jabari on the bus, grabs Jabari, but the bus is slipping off the cliff. And then it got to the point where, like, Billy could get one person off the bus, and Billy says to Jabari, tell my family I love them. And we just have Jabari just screaming. And that was tough. That was tough to hear. And the face that Billy had saying, tell my family I love them, it was tough. And I can understand why Jabari had that trauma. And he does need to talk to somebody, but I was really happy Laura was there saying, it's not your fault. You couldn't do anything. It's not your fault. You know what I mean? You need to let that you need to let that go, where you're putting it on yourself, making it sound like you could have done something and it's your fault. It's not. And I'm really happy Laura was the person to tell Jabari that it's not his fault. I was like, no one else could really get that into his head other than Laura, to tell him, like, no, it's not your fault. Your life, you know what I mean? It's not, because, Jabari is like, I shouldn't, like, I'm worthless. Like, I you know what I mean? Like, I'm worthless. And she's like, your life isn't worthless. You know what I mean? Like, Billy didn't think that. That's why he sacrificed himself for you. Like, you know what I mean? It's not your fault. And I was like, yeah. Like, if anybody needed to tell him to get it through him, because Preach couldn't get through his head, he wasn't gonna go talk to a therapist. If anybody needed to do it, was Laura. And she's like, and even when, like, Jabari's like, you don't want to hear about how Billy died, and, you know what I mean, the last thing that he said, in the last words that he said, you don't want to know what happened. She's like, I know I don't, but you need to let that out. And I'm willing to hear it. I was like, even though she didn't want to hear it, she wanted Jabari to let go of that guilt. And I was like, that's beautiful right there. Like, that's what he needed. And he needed someone to hear it. And the person that needed to hear it, and the person that could get it into his head that it wasn't his fault, was Laura. I was very happy with this episode. It was a sad episode, but it was well directed by Daniel Ezra, and it was well acted, especially by Samantha Logan. She was the highlight of this episode, because it was about her. It was about her and everybody being together, and everybody finding a village, and everybody being there, and them all being a village and being there for one another. It was just really beautiful. And out of everything that happened, like, we have Jordan at the end of this episode. Jordan and Layla open the box, and the box is, of course, ingredients for Billy's famous recipe of jumping jambalaya. It's his world famous jumping jambalaya recipe. And of course, like, Layla's like, I'm glad that we opened this, because this meat would have went bad. And she's like, I think this would be a great way to end the day if we made your dad's famous jumping jambalaya. We don't let it go to waste. What a great way to end today. And with everybody, with the whole family being together, the whole village being together, and pretty much talking about Billy and the memories they have of Billy, and just, getting through day by day of, like, there will be grief here, but there also will, like, there will be sadness here, but there also will be great times when we talk about them. Yeah, there'll be some it'll be sad, but like, time heals all wounds, and you know what I mean? It's going to be a moment where, like, it won't feel so sad to talk about memories. And it's like seeing everybody be happy talking about him. And the great thing that came out of all this is that Liv started back up Live the Truth. She started back up her podcast. I never thought she would do that again after, like, all the shit that went down with the podcast before. I really thought that we wouldn't have seen the podcast again. But she's like, she was thinking, you know what I mean, while talking to Jordan, saying, like, I'm happy I have my village, but not everybody has a village. And he's like, I know that smile. And she's like, like, that's the smile Dad was always saying, where, like, that was the smile that he knew that you would change the world. And I was like, what beautiful callback to, like, the beginning of the episode. In that sad monologue, she's like, my dad always thought I would change the world. And Jordan saying, Dad always said that was the smile that was gonna change the world. I thought that was beautiful. I was like, what a way to just bring things full circle. I was like, what a beautiful way to, like, end the episode by her saying to everybody, like, if you don't have a village, let me be that village. Let me be here for you. Don't run away from your confronting your grief. Confront it. And right away, Spencer walks out. Like I said, Spencer walks out because that's not the words he wants to hear. He wants to run from it. He does not want to feel the pain about how he left things off with Billy, how he lost another father figure, how, like, when things are kind of, things were, like, in a time where, like, things really weren't. It was at a time where Spencer was very confused about a lot of things, about with him and Alicia, about Olivia saying that she wants to be back together with him, about, things not going so well over at GAU, about him not processing the fact of Billy taking, about Billy kind of taking the position at GAU and kind of screwing over Coach Kenny. He was not taking everything very well. Like, things were not going very well for Spencer, and the top of all off, he loses Billy and does not get to like fix things, between him and Billy before he dies. So it's like, I understand why he wants to run, but he needs to understand that running does not help him heal. He needs to just let it out, and he needs to let people around him, his village, help him heal through this tough time, like he's been helping everybody else, and he helped Olivia. That's the one thing Spencer needs to realize. He needs to not be the hero all the time for everybody, and he needs to let people be the hero for him. And he needs to have a moment where, like, people can be there for him and be a hero for once. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to realize that. And like I said, like, and Spencer's not the only one I'm really worried about either. Like, I'm really worried about JJ. He was not on this episode. He wasn't. I'm really worried about that character, guys. I know that, like, things didn't go so well with JJ in the last episode. A lot of people, like, you know what I mean, were kind of, agreeing with the fact that JJ shouldn't have showed up drunk, even though, like, he shouldn't have. I even said that. He shouldn't have shown up drunk, but in his own way, he was grieving in his own way, and he has an addiction himself, and the only one that knows that is Olivia, and her yelling at him, you know what I mean, she did have a right to, but I was just, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, like, JJ really has no one. Well, Olivia has a village, and everybody's there. JJ, I feel like at this point, has nobody. Especially, I feel like that really kind of, like, stated when, like, he was afraid to even show up to, like, the whole community gathering for Billy at South Crenshaw. He got to the point where he didn't even want to, like, he couldn't even walk in because he felt so ashamed and felt like, he just didn't want to make anybody feel like, didn't want to upset anybody else. So it's like, I'm really worried about JJ. Because again, like I said, she had the right to be angry at him, but at the same time, the point I was coming across is, like, I really wish that, like, since she's the only one that knows that he has kind of has an addiction, whether he can admit it or not, and she sees it, I really just wish that she would have took that moment to them both being there for one another. But I understand that she was upset, as anybody should be, for someone showing up. But I was like, if anybody I thought that would understand, it was her, because she's went through, addiction, and she sees that he has an addiction. So, I don't know. I'm really, like I said, really worried about JJ. I don't know. We don't know why JJ is kind of, has an addiction. We don't know why. We don't know what JJ's going through. And this just is the top of it all off. Well, we didn't know what he was going through to make him have this addiction, his alcohol addiction. And just the top of it all off, he loses, like, kind of like his father figure, too. He lost a coach. So it's like, that's why he was processing it in his own way. It was a bad way to process it, but he felt like that was the only way he could process it. So it's like, I'm really worried where, like, he's going to rely more on alcohol because he feels like he doesn't have a village. So he's going to rely more on that. And I'm really worried for JJ. I want to know, guys, like, where are you guys on that too? Like, I'm really curious to know, like, what are you guys worried about JJ? Like, what do you think's going to happen with that character? But, guys, like, I'm really also wanting to know, like, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you guys like this episode? I thought it was a really well-directed episode by Daniel Ezra. I think he's directed episodes before, but, like, this definitely is a standout episode. And it was just such a beautiful episode. It was a sad episode, but it was a beautiful episode. About how to deal with grief and making sure that you have a village around you, and a support system. And I really thought that was just, beautiful. The message that they were trying to tell, and just, I'm excited for next week's episode. I'm excited to be back now. I still don't know why we take these breaks. You know what I mean? It's kind of annoying to me when we take these breaks because it feels like, it's just like, that's when a lot of people start forgetting about the show. And I feel like also that's when a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know. I was kind of like, in a way, like, annoyed. I was like, why stop? I was like annoyed to the point I was like, why don't we just keep going? Why did we stop? Why did we take 2 weeks off? And I think to myself, well, they're probably still writing out some episodes, or they probably took this moment to film some more episodes to finish the season. I don't know why they did it, but I'm assuming those are the reasons that they probably did it. But this definitely was a highlight episode of this season, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what else they do going forward for the rest of the season. But yeah, guys, again, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. But guys, also, again, here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put in notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, a part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we're almost to 700 subscribers. That's the goal, to hit 700 subscribers. My initial goal at the end of this year is hit 1,000 subscribers. So I would love it, again, if you guys can help me get there. That's the big goal, to try to get there, and I would love it if we could get there. And guys, also, if you're new to the channel, check around the channel. There's a lot that I put on the channel here. There's something for everybody, hopefully, here on the channel. So definitely go check out the channel. I would love to have you here, a part of the fam, a part of the community, a part of the fam. I would love to have you here. But yeah, guys, again, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.